Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 44 of our GC 365. I hope you guys are staying on track. My name is Liz, and I am the 4th and 5th grade pastor at the Bridge campus.
And my name's Ashlyn Peterson. I've been a leader in the Bridge for about 3 years. I love doing worship, and I've also been part of pastors in training. And I've been going to Gold Creek since I was in kindergarten, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and thank you for joining me here.
You're so welcome.
I asked Ashlyn to join me today because she's one of the very first volunteers that I met when I started here, and she has been so faithful, and I just love our conversations. Do you know what tomorrow is?
Valentine's Day.
I know. I am so excited. Valentine's Day is one of my favorite days because I get to pour out so much love, not only to my husband, which usually you think it's a couple's holiday, but I just love to pour out love onto everybody that I care about.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your plans?
Well, this month, me and my mom are doing a challenge of kindness and love. So we have a month everyday calendar of just either good gifts or ways to show love to people. So buying coffee for someone behind me, writing a note to my brother, just stuff like that, spreading the love. How about you, Liz?
First of all, I love that. Maybe I could start today and just spend the rest of February doing that.
Yeah.
I love that idea. So my family gets together and we just have a special family dinner. It started about 12 years ago when my husband was deployed in the military a lot. And so it was just a time for my kids and I to use fancy dishes, and they got to drink their milk out of wine glasses.
Fun.
And it's just something that we do as a family. It's like Valentine's Day is not just about my husband and I, it's about our family. So yeah, that's my plan.
Awesome.
All right. Ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay. So we are talking about Exodus 35. We're wrapping up Exodus 35.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I read through the one-year Bible about 5 years ago, I got nothing out of this. We're reading about the tabernacle, and it has so many specifications and all the building materials. And but this time in Exodus 35:21, it says, all whose hearts were stirred and whose spirits were moved came and brought their sacred offerings to the Lord. They brought all the materials needed for the tabernacle.
Mm-hmm.
That really stood out to me this time. It kind of really moved me. I really would have loved to have witnessed what was going on and seen the community come together and just continue to bring all these offerings and all these offerings. I wonder what people were thinking.
Yeah.
And one thing that really stood out to me as well is the fact that they were giving gold from their earrings, necklaces, rings, which are usually very sentimental to people.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they were just so bold in their faith and willing to just continue to give stuff, I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Anything stood out to you in Exodus 35?
Well, before this, this is my first time reading the year Bible, so I'm learning so much more in depth. So it's awesome to do that. But in Exodus, we're like talking about the tabernacle, and I never knew what that was. Like, I just assumed it was a place of worship because it's celebrating God. All those people who had their hearts stirred and their spirits were moved in, like, as it says in Exodus 35:21. So just seeing that and then looking up tabernacle, which means attentive meeting for Yahweh, God. But I know like there's at camps, they're like Camp Springs that we go to.
Yeah.
So that was a question I had. And then I loved in 35 when it just talked about how God gifted them all those things like craftsmanship, designing linen cloth to bless other people. So I thought that was super awesome.
That was really neat. And then we continue in Exodus 36 and they're still talking about the tabernacle. The one thing that really stood out to me is when the craftsmen that were building the tabernacle, they had to stop building and go and talk to Moses because the offerings just kept coming and they had more than enough to build the tabernacle. And so Moses actually had to go out and send a message to the camps that we have more than enough. So stop bringing offerings. And it reminded me of right before Christmas when our food bank had to turn away. I believe it was like 200 families.
Yeah, down the street, really.
Yes, and we did not have enough food to feed them. And all that it took was one post, one message on Facebook, and our community came together.
Yeah.
And the donations continue to pour in. And our sanctuary was full. And it just, I think that that's why that part really stood out to me because that's so fresh in my mind. And it's just, man, it was so moving to see.
It was beautiful. It was just amazing to see the community come together. So
Yes.
it was super awesome.
Some questions that I have though about the tabernacle is when all these people of faith were bringing their offerings willingly, like with bold faith, what were all the non-believers thinking?
Yeah.
Did they ask questions? Did they say, hey guys, what are you building? Why are you giving all your prized possessions? And if a question was asked about that, was that the opportunity to share the love of God with them? And did it have people turn to God and start following God because of that?
Yeah.
That was, I just kind of always wondered that. I have a lot of questions about our reading that we have done today. All right, jumping on to Matthew 27.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus was just nailed to the cross.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, the veil tore and the world shaked, rocks were splitting. And then like it talked about how like even the guards who were guarding like the front were saying like, this is crazy. So it is the moment like our faith is built on, like the part where Jesus really did go through the prophecies, which is super awesome.
Yes. The one thing that really caught my attention this time, and I don't know how I've missed it because this is not just a part of the Bible that I've read with the 1 Year Bible, but it's an important part of the Bible. And so we read over it a lot. And the part where it said tombs opened in Matthew 27, 51 through 53, it says that bodies of godly men and women whom had all died were raised from the dead. Yeah. They left the cemetery after Jesus' resurrection, and they went to the holy city of Jerusalem and appeared to many people. Mm-hmm. How did I miss that?
That was the first time I've noticed that.
Yeah. I mean, it jumped out of the page to me. And I mean, I have so many questions. What did the people in Jerusalem think?
Yeah.
Did it cause chaos? Were people fearful, or were they like, oh, it's not a big deal.
This is chill. It's fine.
Yeah, all these resurrected people are walking in and talking to us. And what did they say? Like it just doesn't explain enough. So
did they know that it was the God who did that? Like did they know they have faith? Did they share it? Like that's so amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of scary, but I love to see that.
I don't know. I might have been like taken back. Like who are these resurrected people coming? I would have assumed that something huge would have happened, which it did.
Yeah.
Another question that I had is why didn't the guards that were guarding Jesus's tomb change their faith? Yeah. I mean, after everything that happened, the ground shaking, the rocks breaking, they still wanted to make sure that nobody was going to take Jesus's body because they knew that he was going to raise from the dead after 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, the soldiers that were there witnessing the crucifixion, they saw everything that was going on and they said, this man was truly the Son of God. So it just blows my mind that the guards would still try to stop this whole process that was going on.
Yeah.
And they were very unsuccessful. And for tomorrow's reading on Valentine's Day, I love this. You guys are going to get to continue Matthew and read all about God's ultimate sign of love on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So,
and I personally love Matthew just talking about like how Jesus is, or I like talk about how he released his spirit, and it's so visually and like seeing the darkness and seeing like the triumph in that. So I thought that was super cool. I love Matthew.
I do too. I get so much from it every single time I read it.
So talking about Psalms.
Yes.
So I always love Psalms. Always talks about, it's so direct, so loving, even though it's like a lot of the time calling us out for what we do every single day.
Right.
I just had a conversation with a friend and they were talking about how the Bible is basically just a manual and it's up to you, and it talks about every single relationship, friendship, family, neighbors. It shows you what you should do. And I love how Psalms does that. So in Psalm 34:4, it talked about, I prayed to the Lord and he answered me. He freed me from all my fears. And I know, especially in this time with coronavirus, it's been so crazy. And I know with like the inauguration, all this crazy stuff happening, that all I need to do is give it to him. So I know it's a simple but needed reminder of what I need in my life. And then talking about in taste and see, in verse 8, it says, taste and Lord, that the Lord is good. And that's one of my favorite songs. There's taste and see. And I was just reading that. That was the first time that stood up like, hey, that's my favorite song. Yeah. So that was super cool to see.
I love when you have a favorite song and you're reading through the Bible.
Yeah.
Especially the one-year plan, and you read over a verse in the song and it's like, okay, what is God trying to tell me about this? I really loved that part in Psalms where David was talking about how he prayed to the Lord and he answered him. He freed him from all of his fears. You mentioned we're living in this time of uncertainty, but God doesn't want you to have that fear. He wants to release you from that. He wants to guard you and protect you. Yeah. And so if you're willing to give all that to him to carry for you, he's going to give you that peace. He's going to give you that strength. He's going to give you that joy that he has designed for you guys. All right. So I think we're done, right? Anything else you want to talk about? Oh, did you have something in Proverbs that stood out to you?
Well, I know it sounds like very straight up, and it's always talking about rebukes, mocker, and insult in return, and then like correct the wise and they will love you. It's just calling us to do the exact opposite of what we really do. So that's really it.
Yes. I find a lot of Proverbs are very convicting.
Yeah.
Very convicting.
Which we need, and that's why I love reading it too. Yeah. So it's really awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ashlyn, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you guys for joining us online, and I will see you next time.
Thank you guys.